and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, one more time, darkness and light, Yahweh, Yakabir in body, Yakabir in body, Yakabir in body, Yakabir in body, come into the form of flesh and blood. Come into the form of flesh and blood. Be sobriety, be sobriety. Darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, Basit Allah, Basit Allah, Basit Allah, Basit Allah. Beyond, expand beyond your boundaries. Beyond, expand beyond your boundaries. Be ecstasy, be ecstasy. Darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, Yakabir embody, Yakabir embody, Yakabir embody, Yakabir embody. Come into the form of flesh and blood. Come into the form of flesh and blood. Be sobriety, be sobriety. Darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, Basit Allah, Basit Allah, Basit Allah, Basit Allah. Beyond, expand beyond your boundaries. Beyond, expand beyond your boundaries. Be ecstasy, be ecstasy. Darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, Yakabir embody, Yakabir embody, Yakabir embody, Yakabir embody. One more time. Come into the form of flesh and blood. Come into the form of flesh and blood. Be sobriety, be sobriety. Darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, darkness and light, Yahweh, light, Yawasi. Darkness and light, Yawasi. Darkness and light, Yawasi. Darkness and light, Yawasi. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good evening, beautiful family.
And we are going to come to our invocation, which is Hidden Lantern by Jan Richardson.
Steady love, this is what the struggle is for. The press of darkness and time making its own light, as if in the earth a hidden lantern, or in the seed a star that blossoms finally into the yielding night, bearing forth the radiant day.
As we go into this piece where we're going to continue to explore the darkness in the body, the darkness and the light in the body, and from the sensational place of sensations, not sensational, but
I don't know, it can feel
It
pretty
can pretty
sensational to many
sensational,
people when
that's
they
right.
finally drop into their body. It's
that's
like,
why,
wow.
that's why I picked this picture, because who can say?
Is she in agony or
agony?
ecstasy?
Right, and
Or
so
both.
that's kind of why I wanted to bring this up, because we have these associations with things about the darkness and the light. And so as you can see, there is both the way that this beautiful artist that we happen to love, Robbie Donaghy, the way he portrays is that it's not like everything is just light. There's darkness and light even within the kind of this eminence that's coming from her heart area. And within this, you see, it's like, you can't tell. Is she really in bliss? Doesn't quite look like that to me. But she doesn't look like she's in quite pain either. It's like this place of holding both, where there is this mixture. And that's what we always have. Is this subtle and sometimes not so subtle mixture of the darkness and the light. And ours is to recognize both and just be with them. Because as in that poem by Jan Richardson that we spoke, Hidden Lanterns, one always is turning into the other. And the other is always turning into the other. And they cannot be separated.
Yeah, it's interesting, the picture, the look on her face, it really is Wasi. It takes a certain intention, and it's a lot to hold both. It's so easy to go to one polarity or the other, to just get lost in darkness or just bliss out, but to hold both is an accomplishment. And I think Yaya's vision in starting in this round on the sensate realm, before we even can really dialogue, it's just really recognizing the different selves and energies inside, the energies of tension, the energies of lightness, expansion, of kabit, contraction, of basit, expansion, recognizing sort of heaven and earth inside of us. And I think it starts in the body. So it's, sometimes you don't know, there may not even be any big self you're dialogue or talking with. You can form a relationship just with those very primal, unformed patterns in the body. That's where a lot of reward is in our inner work.
So I'll just share a short story, is that when I first moved back to Oregon, because I had been away for a few years, I was in my early 30s, and I went to see a psychic, and the psychic said to me, I don't know what's happening, but I can tell you there's some kind of darkness. I'm pretty sure she used that word, in your womb area. Well, I had already given birth to a child, and I had no idea what it was. Well, that darkness that she saw ended up being a whole contraction tension area that has continued now for most of my adult life. And it came out of having had both a hysterectomy and having a C-section. So what she saw was that there was some kind of tensions forming. Now, that's not good or bad, but it's like that is the area of my body that I can feel. I always call it my kind of like where my ovaries would be if they were there. I can feel the tension that still exists within that area. And so that's part of what I'm kind of calling upon all of you to do today as we explore some of these. We're going to go into some emotional pieces, but we're going to start again with that piece of the very first experience, which is of the tension and the contraction, because that really offers us information as to, even if it's not an actual self, what is this area of the body that wants to collect the denseness or the contraction or the pain? There's almost always some area, if we're embodied, if we can feel ourselves, just because we're human. So as we begin today, we're going to stand up and feel our feet on the floor, greeting Mother Earth if you're not already there, or if you are, just really let yourself feel that interface of what it is to be two substances, two materials coming together. The earth of this floor that we have, that we're all standing on in some form or another, and these feet that stand on top of this material, this form, one form coming into another form. And when we have that kind of, that pressure, she calls it the press of the darkness in the poem, that pressing, right, which naturally happens. Can you just feel the pressing down in your feet? So see if you can come out of your head for a little while and just feel what it feels like to invite in that the weight of your body is coming down into your feet, and your feet are really pressing upon that earth. If you can't feel it, then I invite you to go from one foot to the other foot so you can really feel it, so that you can't help but feel that all of your weight is on one foot or the other foot, because that helps to really kind of cement in what it takes, how much weight, how much pressure is coming down into the earth. So just letting your breath lengthen as we're doing this, and as you're lengthening your breath, you're inviting in that this is your holy space right now to really be in your body, connecting with this huge body of the earth. So breathing in through the nose, and letting it stop for a moment on that inhale as you're holding, and then letting yourself exhale through the nose and letting yourself stop for a moment. That wasi, that holding as you exhale. And just feel that whole dynamic, that it is a dynamism of the breath supporting us and also in filling us, which, as we've talked about before, is a certain amount of tension that it takes for the muscles to expand, to allow in all that breath, and then to let it back out again is really releasing, relaxing. That's when you can feel more your own heaviness into the earth. There's almost an upliftment on the way in which you let the breath in, because all the muscles are contracting. So here's the paradox again. We feel a little lighter when we're inhaling, but we're actually contracting more of the muscles. And as we exhale, we can feel a little bit more of the heaviness in our own bodies, even though we've actually lightened up the contractions. So as you're just being with that for a few more breaths, feeling that contrast of the inhale, the exhale. Now we're going to go into an exploration of the earth. So I want you to imagine that now your feet are not only touching the earth, but now they're sinking into it a little bit. It's muddy. And so you can feel the mud, so that you're not going to be able to really lift your feet very easily, because they're rooting down into the earth, into this muddiness, it's kind of sticky, and it's a little liquidy, and it has that quality of just kind of creating a container for us right now as we're breathing. And I want you to really let yourself begin to feel that mud down around your toes as you're doing this breath, this earth breath. When you feel the mud, it's kind of like feeling the fleshiness of your own body. It's letting yourself really feel what it feels like to be in a body with a foot. And if you can, go down and touch your foot and really let yourself touch that foot and imagine it, if it was a little bit more liquid, it would be part of the substance of this muddy earth. So touching the foot and the toes, if you can, and sides of your feet, your ankles, your insteps, really feeling all of that, and just imagine them firmly planted into this mud. And then we're going to come up through our shins, feeling the shins and the calves. Really, if it feels good, dig in and feel that substance that's there on each side, the right and the left. And imagine it just really nice and covered in with mud. We're placing more mud on the shins and the calves to really connect them to the earth, all the way up into our knees, the back of our knees, the front, the tendons, the muscles, all the way down into our feet again. You can feel those tendons going all the way down, and the muscles, the bones now up through your thighs, holding us up. Big muscle groups and patterns on the side of your legs, your thighs, and on the front. Feel all that. Imagine it just filled with this mud, this soil of the earth. On the back of your thighs. Sciatic nerve running down there. And all the way up into your hips. Really feel, now you're actually putting the mud on one hip. You can rub it in. You're making yourself of the earth. And rub it in one and the other. Feel the fleshy part of your bottom. And you can go to your tailbone and feel that. You can cover your genitals in that mud, in that wonderful soil, all across the front of your hips. Imagine that mud is going deep into your body. It's like when you go in and get a beautiful, what do they call the mud baths, and it's all the good elementals that live inside the mud, calcium and the potassium and many other things come into the body, and you feel that. So you're letting it come all the way in from your waist down. You're filling that whole area with the mud, the soil of the earth. Now we're going to come up above that waist into the solar plexus, fill it all in. The sides, don't forget the sides and the back as much as you can. All the way, go back there and feel your spine. In that middle part of it, some of the lumbar region, it's going up towards your thoracic. And coming now to your heart area, the heart to the left as well as the right side of your heart and the middle, letting all of that area be patted down, so to speak, with this mud. All the way up to your collarbone. You're letting it really come into the body, be a part of the body. You're feeling it under your arms. And as much as you can in your back, where your wings are. Breathing deeply. Let's take a nice big breath as we're doing, letting go of our, patting it down right now and feeling the mud from our collarbones down. Breathing in, holding it, breathing out, holding it. You should feel a little denser, or some kind of a sense of there's something more there. So now we're going to finish up our work. We're going to take it on the shoulders, and the shoulders as it comes up into the neck, one at a time, really patting that shoulder down, really feeling it. And then as it comes into the arm, the fleshiness of and the muscles of the upper arm, and the elbow, inside and out, all the way down to your lower arm, your wrist, the fleshiness of your hand, the outside, the inside, and all of your fingers. Every single finger has to be put into and connected to this beautiful soil. And then you can do the same thing on the other hand, on the other shoulder, remembering really, it's like you're doing an art project. You want every single part covered. So do it with care and love, sending this love to your body as it's being encased in this soil. Down through your elbows again, forearms, wrists, hands and fingers. Get it throughout the whole body. And now we have our wonderful necks. So we're going to take our necks and we're going to slather it on our necks. And from our necks, we're going to take it up to our chin and our ears. Don't have to get it inside, but you can get all around your ears and to your mouth, your lips, below your nose and your nose. Don't forget your cheeks, underneath your eyes, above your eyes, to your third eye, your whole face. And then when you're done, the top of your head, really the whole top, even through your hair. You go through that hair to get down to the scalp to put in that beautiful mud, that soil. All the way to the back of the head, into where the head connects to the neck with the spine. And then let's take a couple more breaths again. And feel the whole body in this mud. It might feel kind of rooted into the ground right now, or however it does. I want you to really imagine now you are rooted into this soil, that there's nowhere to go, nothing to do, your legs are planted. So you're breathing these deep, rich, full breaths in and out. And in this soil, it's in the very nature of what this soil and this mud is. It's coming up to you, and it's going to have these elements of contraction and tension in them. And I want you to see, you can imagine in your mind's eye, where does this contraction and tension that exists and is a part of the soil in its very essence, it becomes a rock, right? The soil over time becomes a rock. Where in this rocky soil, muddy stuff, is this in your own body? Where is the tension and the contraction? Breathing in deeply and asking this question. You can ask where it is today. It's the first question. And if you doubt it, ask High Self. Say, High Self, can you help me with this? My guides, can you help me with this? Where is the tension, the contraction that I feel in this own soil of my body today? And then when you find it, put your hand on it. In that same way that you're creating the mud there, just imagine you're putting your hand on that contraction. And if you have no contraction, no tension today, then just imagine putting your hand on the mud of the earth and holding it for a moment and breathing in, holding that and breathing out and holding that. And now ask the question, where is the contraction and the tension in my body that likes to just be in a particular area, that it's not based on maybe day to day, but where does all the tension, it's kind of like there's fault lines in the earth, where there's all this tension that builds up. In the same way, where are the fault lines in our body? Where are the places where you can feel that line of tension or that ball of tension? Where is it, the contraction and the tension? And as you get that, put your hand on it. And again, let yourself just be with it. Not trying to make it go away, you're just letting yourself be with this fault line of tension. this fault line of a certain amount of darkness. And breathing deeply. And the next question is, within this mud is denseness, heaviness, that we might not feel so much as tension, but as a denseness, heaviness. Where in our bodies do we feel this? Imagine it being in the area where there's kind of like the most mud, like you can't, it's so thick that you can't, that no light gets in there. It feels very dense and heavy. And when you find that area, put your hand on it. Even if it's deep within and you feel the outer surface of where that is. And then thanking that area, and let's ask the question, where do we feel pain or soreness? Is there a place in our bodies where we feel that? Because pain and soreness is a certain degree of tension and contraction. And if you feel that, put your hand on it. Otherwise, you can go to one of the other ones where you really felt maybe the original place of the tension and the contraction. And just holding that. Without needing to make it go away. And giving thanks for the earth in our bodies, and asking for the earth now to tell us where in our bodies do we feel grounded. That's a different feeling, a groundedness. It has maybe a little bit of heaviness in it. Maybe it has a little bit of tension, but it's a different feeling. It's not like balled up or a line of tension. It has much more of a, there's more space around this denser material, right? So feel where in your body do you feel grounded? And breathe into that area where you feel grounded, and really let that ground also be held. And maybe the ground comes with a little tiny bit of movement, whether it's maybe just bending your knees a little bit, but it's got a little bit of a connection more to the earth. So just let yourself feel that for a moment, and you might want to bend one knee and then the other, or just bend both knees. Feel the flexing of your hips.
And could you say grounded or more presence?
Yes, it's in your body. It feels like, as I was trying to describe it, it's like a denseness that isn't just in a ball or a line. It's more of a sense of having space within that denseness. So it feels like I'm here. It feels like there's a downward movement to it, though. There is definitely a sense of coming down into the earth, of being a part of it, not holding myself away from it. And the last one I'd like to explore with today on this, with this earth energy, is the experience of support. See if there's anywhere in your body you feel support. Now, support is different. Support feels more like you are being held. But this also comes as one of the earth energies. So you may need to move your pelvis a little bit to just allow a little bit of motion. You can move it back and forth. You can move it front and back. Make sure that your knees are not rigid, that they're flowing, that your feet aren't rigid on the ground as you ask about this support. Support doesn't come from being rigid. It comes from, again, it's like this, it's denser quality. It's more heavy than light, but at the same time, it's uplifting. It lifts you up. So it's a sense of being substantial. And see if you can feel anywhere where you feel held. Maybe it's in the upper part of your body. Make sure that your shoulders are not locked up. Making sure that your arms can move. So just be doing these tiny little micro movements as you find your way into this sense of, where do I feel supported? And sometimes you can just wait and ask the question and see where it comes to, and then direct yourself into that area of your body and feel the sensation there. Holding with your breath that area of support. And then giving thanks again for all these ways that we are connected into the earth. Not good, not bad. Simply forms of darkness and light. So as we're going to complete this by really taking our legs out of the mud. We're going to imagine lifting them up and out. If you can, actually do that. Bring them out of the mud. And we're going to immerse them. We're not going to stay with this for too long, in the water. And just begin to let the water, imagine you've now walked into a lake where you have a secure bottom, but you can let your legs move. They're going to move one way, one leg, and then the other way. And then they're going to keep moving, just your legs. Let them just kind of revolve around each other. You can make them go in front of one leg, in the back of one leg. You can pivot them around your knee. You can pivot them around your hips. But just explore all the ways that your legs will move. You're loosening up from one form of denseness. And let this come all the way up into your hips. And now we're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let it come all the way up into your solar plexus and your torso, letting it turn around and around. And your shoulders even, your shoulders and your arms, let them move, swim through the water. And your head and neck. And giving thanks for this watery nature. We're going to explore the feelings next time, but really before we wanted to get out of the mud a little bit because the body likes to feel a little bit more ease, and the mud and the contraction and denseness can feel a little constrictive. So letting yourself remember though, where was that area where the constriction and the tension comes on a more regular basis. You can breathe into it with the water breath even, as you remember where that is. Where was the area where you really felt that sense of maybe some pain or soreness? And where was the area that you felt that heavy denseness being pulled into the earth? Like everything's an exhale, you could say. Holding those areas, remembering them, and then not forgetting the area of support, if you felt that, where you felt the support. Breathing into it with the water breath, and where you felt that sense of groundedness, or as Raphael named it, presence. Presence being having a downward flow. The water helps us to hold these pieces without them being too rigidified. So let's get a place to sit.
Letting your breath continue to flow, rich, full inhalations, rich, full exhalations. You can do earth breath, water breath, or just whatever breath comes naturally. If there are any cells that are busy or distracting, or you noticed were active during the expiration, just asking those cells to step aside, those voices, for right now. Really imagining your chest soft and porous as the breath flows in and out, massaging your heart and your heart center. Coming into the sacred space of your heart, the garden, the temple. And as you just breathe, bringing your awareness in again to the substance, the presence, the substance of the heart. Just listening to these few words as you just relax more and more into the sacred space of your heart. Toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty. The only being, united with all the illuminated souls, who form the embodiment of the Master, the message, the mystery, the miracle, the mother, the matter, the spirit of guidance. In just using my voice as a guide, you may find yourself moving faster or slower, trusting your guidance in your own unique, individuated rhythm of unfoldment. And just taking a moment to call in high self for a time of communion, a time of guidance, a time of dialogue. And as you welcome in high self, the presence of high self, just notice how this affects this sense of presence, of heaviness, how it affects the places of pain, of contraction, of denseness, how it affects the sense of presence, of this movement into the beautiful temple of our bodies. So just welcoming in high self, whether you see or feel or hear or sense the fragrance or there's a taste in your mouth as high self comes in. Just a sense of presence, or perhaps even just that intention of being with high self. And beloved high self, we welcome you for a time of communion, a time of guidance, a time of dialogue. But we start with just communing and notice how that affects us and all these energies Yaya has been helping us to explore in our bodies. Perhaps while you're being present with high self, just noticing one place, whether it was a pain or the tension or contraction, any one of those places, just being aware of that in your body, and at the same time also being aware of one of the places of real groundedness, of presence, of this beautiful, nutritious solidity in the body. Just being with high self as you hold a place of the contraction and a place of real groundedness. As you hold both, calling on the support of high self. Beloved high self, help me explore, maybe starting with the place of pain or real tension, heaviness, denseness, the contracted places. Beloved high self, help me explore, help me open any guidance you have about this place on how I can come into greater contact and explore these places of tension, of pain, of contraction in my physical form. How can you help me be with these places? With compassion, with curiosity. And also, beloved high self, I seek your guidance in helping me be more aware, more present with the places of ground, of presence in my body. Perhaps allowing one of those to come as high self helps you learn to hold and be with these places of ground, of presence, with more compassion, love, awareness. We know how hard, how challenging it is to just be in our bodies, to be in our bodies with whatever is happening. whatever places of kabed, with whatever places of basit, whatever places of darkness, whatever places of light. All the selves that push or move away, asking them all to step aside, to just watch, to learn how we can simply be present. And then when you're ready, you can hold both, or when you're ready, moving towards that place of kabed, of contraction, of pain, of denseness, one of those. Just really opening to being present with it. Letting that place know you're here without pushing it away, without needing to fix it, asking all those selves to step aside. We're going to just learn this new way of just being present with, holding with love and curiosity. If you feel any parts that are trying to do something, just inviting them to step aside, or just inviting this experiment of holding, of being with. And just being open as you're hold and you're with this. Perhaps something opens, or memories or images or understanding arises. But we don't even worry about that, because first we go to this place of receptivity, of just holding and being with. You can stay with that, or when you're ready, you can move towards that place of expansion, of that grounded presence that Yaya led us to, finding one of those places in your body. And as you're ready, just opening to being with this place. Just this beautiful, loving, compassionate, receptive curiosity. Just, wow. I'm going to be with the marvel and the wonder of this place, this experience in the temple of my body. Being timeless with it. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just gently being present with, holding. Like a mother holding her child, you holding lovingly all these different places inside. And then, just beginning to breathe in the breath of unity with High Self as you're holding these places of tension, of contraction, of kabed, holding the places of expansion, of grounded solidity, of presence. Just open to holding all that's happening inside. Breathing with High Self, being held by High Self so you can hold all that arises inside. This universe of you with planets and galaxies and stars and interstellar dust, this whole cosmos inside, just wasi, holding all of this, the wonder of your inner life. wonder and an awe. All the parts that want to manage or fix or do this or figure it out, just asking those parts to step aside. We're going to a place beyond space and time to just be with the wonder of what is, what's arising in the cosmos inside each of us. You may open to just being aware of the places of denseness and contraction and the places of this sort of grounded presence, this field of presence, and the field of expansion and the field of contraction. Wasi. And know, as you're doing this, resonating with all of us gathered here, at this point in space and time, those who may watch this at other points in space and time, that we're all supporting each other in wasi of our inner worlds, our inner lives. And that we're letting that ripple out to supporting all beings and holding their inner lives. And as we learn to do that, naturally being able to hold more and more what happens in our outer lives. Because the reason we can't hold that is because it activates things in our inner lives that we haven't learned to hold yet and be with. And so we'll take a breath as we just say Yawasi, bowing, holding our inner lives. Then another Wasi, holding our outer lives, and knowing we're all here supporting each other in this work. And as you're ready, allowing yourself to remember in the waking dream of your soul work, whatever you wish to remember, whatever is important for you as we come back into this, our worlds in space and time. And then as always, we have a few minutes if there's anything anyone would like to share about their experience.